Okay, back to the more yeehaw hat. I can't believe it's been like 2 weeks since I did a boot talk, but of course, last time I smashed in hat talk and other stuff, suspenders and things. Of course, I was wearing the other hat for the other video that nobody's going to watch. So maybe I'll put that one back on later if I feel like it. Anyway, this is. I don't have that much new stuff to add to an installment, but I did have some comments that I had left and received. So I can toot my own horn a little bit at my own brilliance, starting out with, again, these are boxed up in the closet for now and I can't show them. But imagine that I'm holding a pair of Wolverine 1,000 mile boots as we watched the Stitch Down interview with the guy, and it was just a short piece of a longer interview that I watched, where the guy said they were going to focus on their full price products. By that I hope he means top quality, because Rose Anvil and other channels have been insisting that they lag behind Red Wing and other brands for price value considerations. Paper fiber board inner soles and that kind of thing. Of course, I already have some pairs that I like fine enough for now anyway, so we'll see going forward what exactly he means, I guess. Of course, I got the Boulevard ones for $100 on Blowout, so it doesn't really count the same. But of course, the Wolverine loader boots that I show pretty often are one of the pairs that I've been wearing lately that I'm going to talk about soon. When I talk about, I'm not doing a boot challenge month right now, but I have been wearing some boots despite the heat. So yeah, they discontinued the Boulevard and whatever already. So maybe they'll bring something like that back, but I doubt it. But the wedge sole availability supply chain came back already since, because as I said at the time, I could not get these in the taller heights for a long time, and that solved itself like 3 years ago or whatever already. But most people still want the 6-inch ones more for some reason. Do they just mean leather other than Chrome Excel now as offerings? Maybe. I already have a bunch of Grant Stone and more exotic leathers and such. I can disclose that they have not contacted me about any collaborations. Even no matter how much I talk about their products, most likely can be some overpriced thing I won't want anyway, though, because that's usually what these collaborations seem to be. And of course, they're always limited runs, so you don't have the money before they're gone anyway, so I don't worry about it too much. But some of the people who want collaborations want more realistic things than the Rose Anvil fanciful. What if I was hunting aliens on Mars and I needed a boot that could also climb trees? Okay, sure. The response that I got, not from the video channel, but from Rare Kid. Exactly. All I've heard from this product is make no improvements in quality, jack up the price, and continue bringing more trashy synthetic cat meaning the brand Caterpillar, work boots with AI in it, LMFAO, laughing till he fell off his dinosaur and broke his stone trousers. Seems so out of touch, particularly with the Stitch Down audience, which I'm not even a regular viewer. I just watch some of them. But we will continue buying from quality brands like Parkhurst and Grant Stone, and they will continue raking in the profits from selling the average consumer low quality trash. Again, work boots being a different function than heritage boots. So this might be a lower quality boot, but it's also a much lower price boot, because these were $120 or something, not $340 or something. So of course I responded and got no response since, I was trying to be not, so cynical, because I do like the pair of 1,000 miles that I got, especially the fit of them more than the Red Wings. But I also got them at a sale price, same as how I got the other ones at the blowout price. Then, not related to me, House said, nice looking boots, but I need a double E option. Plus, I'm not paying Iron Ranger prices for a fiberboard midsole. Yeah, exactly. To which I replied, but I got some on sale and fit better than Red Wing, which I just said. Okay, that I had to return, and kept the Wolverine. So they were decent for a lower price overall, etc. And one day I'll get them rebuilt, and the fiberboard will be gone, presumably. And then Stitch Down replied to him, not me, and said every brand needs a double E and an E and a triple E and a C width option. It's the biggest thing missing from the space. Yeah, but they're doing that on purpose. That's what's his name's always complaining about cowboy boots on his site. I'll think of his name in a minute. Luckily, Grant Stone and a few others are focusing on it. Well, Grant Stone barely has wide widths, but yes, I had to get wide widths of their boots most of the time. But it is so needed. Yeah, again, they're not going to add that. That's a cost-cutting thing. Good luck. What's his name? The singing cowboy guy. I can't think of his name. Anyway, he's not doing videos as much lately because he says he feels like a sellout from getting cheap or free boots rather to promote product that he thinks is cheap and inferior, even though they cost more, but they were nice because they were free for him, but they're still not the quality that he really wants in a boot that he's going to pay $500 or $600 for, and yada, yada, yada. So more boots. I don't know if you would need a 4-toe from Frank's instead of a 3 for steel toe. I don't think so. I forgot to ask them that when I called. And someone finally watched my Silverado boots video from like a year ago and left me a comment. Simon says, literally, Silverado / Abilene, or parentheses, Abilene. Now, the brand Abilene I had a big problem with. Their Packer boots were horrible. You can watch that video too. But their Silverado boots that I've been neglecting, kind of on purpose because I didn't want to wear out the outsoles. They seem to be a good quality for what they are, but I haven't really worn them because they're still in the bag. I'll talk about that in a minute. Silverado Abilene should be in direct competition with Thorogood. I didn't bring in the Thorogoods, but I'm pretty sure you all know what Thorogoods are. Synthetic welt, pour-on insole, etc. I think you get more quality stuff from Silverado. I am looking at a pair of 6-inch mock toe. I'm not stopping you, but again, I got the Wolverine ones in triplicate. I am a Red Wing guy, but $185 is hard to pass up. I can get 2 for the price of 1 pair of Red Wing. Of course, Red Wing's leather will be superior, but I'm just doing farm work and I'm 50 years old. I don't need boots to last a lifetime. Yeah, I keep hoping my lifetime will be long enough to wear out some of these, right? Me too. Well, I'm not 50, but I'm not doing farm work. So I'm doing farm work, of course. If you're shoveling a lot of manure and stuff, the acids will destroy the leather. So they won't last as long as you might, no matter how nice of boots you buy. But if you were going to buy other boots for other purposes, then there would be a plausible argument for why you would want higher quality this and that, yada, yada, yada. And cement work, of course, being another one that's going to prematurely destroy any boot, typically. Just doing farm work. I'm 50. I don't need boots to last a lifetime. 5 years, sure, but I'll probably be dead before a new pair of Red Wings wear out. Again, try not to be so fatalistic, but depends on what you're using them for, certainly. Because, again, I think you could destroy a pair of Red Wings if you're doing, slopping pigs and that kind of thing quicker than you'd actually believe. But then it might just be money out the door. Window, whatever. I might do Silverado, just not the loggers. Oh, read more. Oops, I didn't copy the entire comment on accident here. Honestly, I've not worn them yet for any real use. Again, meaning these. But I did get them back out of the closet the other day to finally get them in rotation, though. Okay, let me go back and try and find his comment and see what the part is that I missed. Where it says read more. Oops. That's the annoying thing about YouTube. Okay. I'm just doing farm work. 5 years, sure. Not the... Oh, that's it. Then it says show less. Okay, so there was no extra For some reason, it just cut off. Why it says read more? Don't know. Okay. That's just YouTube messing with me. Footloose and fancy free. Okay, so free and easy down the road I go. So then on a new comment on my more recent boot talk, Steve said about, this was a recraft video where they were taking some pair of boots, probably not these, maybe Red Wings or Thorogoods, I forget, but putting a different outsole on it and putting, they were making a little ridge on the bottom to make it, well, let me show. For those, the three of you who don't know what a PNW boot looks like, they were trying to simulate this ridge or something to make it look like it had arch support on the inside when it actually doesn't. So again, the higher heel of the logger boots that guy said he doesn't want. Well, he wants the regular military stack or whatever you want to call it. Lower profile. But again, does he need the treads? I don't know. Depends on how level his farm is compared to if he's up in the mountains trying to grow coffee or something. But so anyway, so they were replicating this look, but not the performance aspect of it, right? And so I had written to them a question, and they had told me to immolate the boots. And so I was joking that I guess that meant they wanted me to burn my boots, ha ha ha, because they like using silly words that don't mean what they are telling you. And so he asks, did they say immolate but meant emulate maybe? Well, nope, not really. They do their own junk, and I had forgotten all about this, but literally had watched part of one of their other videos just recently, the day before. Coincidentally enough, so I know what you speak of without having to second guess, likely that more they meant imitate, which is sort of a form of flattery like emulate would imply. But they are still not actually replicating nor improving on the existing boot like the title claimed, or clickbaity, implication, the boot's going to be way better when we're done with it. No, it's just going to have a different outsole and a slightly different look. Okay. So once again, we're kind of stuck dealing with Pacific Northwest companies that will do that sort of work if they will accept the work for a rebuild, which they typically only want to rebuild other Pacific Northwest boots, which is a problem, blah, blah, blah. And someone in the last video had come in at the end and said Pacific Northwest boots are overbuilt and overhyped and the average person doesn't need them. And that's probably true. I agree with part of that. But again, this farm guy, same thing. It depends on what you're using them for. They do have some leather that might actually resist farm work, corrosive acid content, particles and whatnot. You would have to contact them and find out, but because I don't know the specs of all the leathers, what the weather shield is and this and that, but I know they exist. So actually, even though you could get almost 3 pairs of Silverados for the price of 1 Pacific Northwest boots, you might still get a little bit more life out of the 1 pair of Pacific Northwest boots than you would out of 2 or 3 pairs of Silverados if that leather is, in fact, superior in that regard. So you'd have to crunch those numbers, I guess, and determine whether or not you want to cough up the $700 or just get more of these. Which, again, he sounds like he's going to get more of those, same as this next guy sounds like he's going to keep getting his Thorogoods and Red Wings too. Okay. So as I kept going, they're always saying, the PNW companies are always telling me to find a local cobbler when they know perfectly well that local cobblers don't do a bunch of this kind of stuff. That again, they try to pretend like they do this kind of stuff. It's a PNW boot now. No, it's not. It's not the same leather. It's not the same outsole. Well, it might be the same outsole, but it's not the same build construction connecting the outsole. It's not this blah, blah, blah. Anyway. But they also have long lead times and such for their new builds. So if the job doesn't pay enough, then of course they don't want to throw you in the queue when they have a bunch of other customers willing to pay full price for a new product than the slimmer margin that is likely incurred in a rebuild, because it is a business. Okay. I have not contacted Whites about rebuild stuff yet because my first purchase with them, they would offer no priority if I wanted to change that last, but they may still do more service stuff than Nix offers. Don't know. But I also know that so far no cobblers offer real PNW art support, because they're just, even Thursday Boots did a kind of a sort of version of it, and they still cut corners to make it work in their price range. Got 2 pairs of those. You can go back and watch my Challenger videos if you haven't seen those. And the PNW don't seem interested in converting mass market boots. But again, local cobblers also have struggled with stitch down construction and welt basic stuff. Oh, here he is. Hey, Steve. Yep, here I am. I'm reading your comments right now from last week. So of course, and then I kept going. Of course, I don't know if PNW boots interest you at all. Most of my viewers are for 3 models of Thursday brand so far, and they don't care about these either. But it's a bit annoying when we are trying to sell. Oh, they are trying to sell some service, but using smoke and mirrors and clickbait. Again, these are the cobblers who make these YouTube content videos who are always saying stuff like, hey, look at what we can do. Don't ask us to do this because we won't do it because we don't have time. Well, then don't show me in the video what you can do if you're not going to offer that, because that was the whole reason I was watching your video. I'm turning into Tom Hanks in it. Okay. Most of the guys who are buying, again, if you're buying this, you don't know the difference. You don't care the difference. You just need something that gets you through the day on the job site. Why those companies charge extra that might otherwise seem gratuitous or whatever. But the PNW companies have a bunch of their own faults and such that, other people have been documenting more than me, because I've only run across a couple faults that were mostly fit issues. Again, they run narrow, and my feet, even though I'm exactly a D on a Brannock in almost every boot brand, that apparently is squash them till they're dead for some reason. I don't know why. And I have to get an E or a double E or something. PNWs have a bunch of their own faults. I've tried to cover in several videos regarding sizing and marketing. Now, that was one of my big problems with Nix, is I still don't understand what their marketing people are trying to do half the time. Their boots are mostly fine enough quality for the price until the marketing guys get in the way and try to convince you that they're capable of making the most elegant sculpture when they're in fact just better at making sledgehammers. Okay, if you order a fine, elegant sculpture and get something that resembles a sledgehammer, don't be too surprised, because this is what they do. They weigh 6 pounds. Well, this has shoe trees in it right now. So, but. Okay, here we go. What I wonder is if the PNW boot company are making them custom anyway, why can't they just change it a bit more and do them to the client spec instead of a 2-step buy Nix boots, then send them to cobbler? No, Nix wasn't trying to get you to send them to the cobbler. They just upcharge the crap out of slight modifications. So that's what I had complained about in the, like this Builder Pro doesn't have the larger eyelet for the logger knot. There's a specific way to tie them so you don't have big loops that catch on trees and make a health hazard. And they won't include them on the regular models without like a $40 or $80 upcharge or some crap for a little bit bigger hole punch. And it's stuff like that that drives you up the wall. So they will do it, but they won't do it standard, which again, in this, as we were talking about hats, in this internet age, why can't I just select from a bigger menu than the menu you already have? Like, you're already waiting 6 months. Yeah. Again, a lot of the nitpicky stuff also that I'm talking about, like last week, I was talking about how I wanted to get the narrower, or maybe the logger stack on this, but the narrower waist. I wasn't sure if that would be a problem. Well, it would be a problem. They won't, they say it's 55 compatible, but they won't put a logger stack on this in a resole, but they will if I do an entire recraft. So if I have them take away this perfectly good leather and throw it away and replace it with more of this toe shape, then they'll replace this heel also with this heel shape, yada yada yada. So again, they're not going to do it for $100, but they might do it for $300, that kind of thing, if it's compatible. Let's see. Okay, he's typing away. I didn't even get to finish reading the other comments, but we'll see if we get there. Yeah, I want speed hooks on my Red Wing mock toes. I get that Red Wings can't option it because they're mass produced. But these PNW companies should be like, sure, we can do small stuff like that. Again, yeah, they will. The other ones are in the box, but I didn't want hooks on the other cowboy boot that I got, so I got the all eyelets. And so I have two different Packer boot unboxings, because this was my test pair where I just got the stock options and the ugly toe shape, which looked more like a logger boot than a Packer boot or a cowboy boot. And so if I want to change the toe shape, I can do that, when I order them. They have different toe options, they have different heel options, they have different outsole options on most of the stuff. It's the quick ship stuff and the pre-made stuff where, again, they're just trying to get it out the door, so they offer you less options on purpose so that the guys who are building them can just assembly line this stuff out the door, similar to Red Wing, but on a smaller scale. No, they're not doing they're not doing mass production, but see, Nicks and Whites to a degree, and I think especially JK, are all trying to find ways to streamline their less custom products, because they know they have a big market for the firefighter boots and the standard work boots that aren't the 55. That's why I was telling you about that guy Tech in his video. He had gotten a pair of some Whites, the Perrys or the Fultons or something, and I keep waiting for him to do a follow-up review so I can see how they've aged. And of course, he hasn't worn them at all, because I'm curious about them, but not curious enough to just buy them without seeing what quality they actually are. So then, okay, Steve says, I own a pair of Red Wings, or a few pairs, sorry, 1907 mock, Iron Rangers, Weekend Chukka, and Thorogoods, 2 pair of mock steel toe 6-inch work boots. I've never splurged on a true PNW, too much risk in the fit not being exactly right. So I've covered this in a bunch of videos, that you don't have to try and break them in before you return them. If they don't fit, they don't fit. And you can, Nicks at least will do one rebuild for free. But again, I do try and recommend getting the in-stock options or the quick ship options. This one, like, I just got the brown work. This one I actually waited for and still got stock options. Now I don't know why, because I could have got this one more customized, because I ended up waiting for it anyway because of the leather or some stupid thing. But it was a blowout price on the leather at the time, or whatever the deal was. So I was like, okay, it's almost the same color as the other one, but slightly different-ish. Whatever, I don't remember. So yeah, try on a pair before you spend $700 or more, because that's where you're seeing a lot of these guys on eBay complaining, it didn't fit, and I wore it and wore it. Well, because you needed a wider width and you didn't, investigate that first, because the Packer boots run even a little bit more narrow. My toes were really getting crushed in the other ones where I got the pointier toe, because the way they lasted isn't like a regular cowboy boot in the same way. But I did keep them because I wanted the look, because again, this doesn't look like a cowboy boot. And so I suffer for your art a little bit, whereas those, they're already wide enough. If I turn them into logger boots, they're gonna look about the same, but they won't fit as snug in that waist area. And so I do like that, but the heel stack is not as versatile for if I wanted to take them hiking and that sort of thing. That's why I'm thinking of taking them to the cobbler, not because they're built like particularly wrong. What's the hardest break-in on a boot you've gone through? That's the other concern. Comments make it seem like, sure, your feet will bleed a little, but it's worth it. LOL. Yeah, again, if they're too tight, then they're too tight. They're not going to break in. That's where I've had problems with the Truman boots, because the leather's so thick and they almost fit. They're kind of on the verge, but I didn't bring in the Hawthorne ones. If you saw my whites Hawthorns in the other video, the lace to toe ones, the previous owner really blew out the sides. I can't show this because it's got shoe trees on it. He bought a pair of it that were too narrow, and he's really squashed them with his feet, pressing out the leather. So they fit on me without having that problem, but they're not supportive anymore either because they're too blown out for even my feet, because my feet aren't as wide as his were. Whereas the whites, Rose Anvil Drifter ones, the leather's not quite as thick as the Truman ones, but it's still a pretty tight fit. But I'm kind of used to wearing them now. But the arch support on Nicks is slightly different than the arch support on whites. So I find their arch more comfortable than whites so far overall. But I do like the arch support most of the time. But it also is a little harder on your knees if you're not used to the higher heel. But if you wear cowboy boots regularly and you're complaining about PNW boots, then you're just being whiny because cowboy boots are elevated and they'll hurt your knees too. What's the hardest break in? Yeah, Truman. Yeah, Truman, same as some of the other brands. But Truman charged more than some of the other brands. So for the money, it's kind of like you'd think they would had wanted to cater to more audience, especially when they were kind of hitting their stride in their heyday right before they started changing everything and pissing off all their customers. I don't always want an arch support boot, or I don't always wear them. But again, at the end of the day, after I've worn these, my feet will hurt a little bit more. But sometimes walking in the high heels and stuff is kind of eh. So I kind of vary it, and I'm not completely positive which is better overall, but I wore Converse All-Star sneakers for like 30 years, so my feet hate me now. So the arch support does help in that regard. Let's see. So I had said stupid autocorrect misspelled months in yesterday. Yesterday. Even the Chrome XL leather is way more thin than the same thing from Wolverine and such. But yeah, and it showed, well, this is the Thursday leather that is not the same as all the Chrome XL leather that you're going to get from Grant Stone or whatever. But the Nicks Chrome XL leather I showed in the previous video, you can see how much thicker it was than this, you know. But again, if you're just needing a casual boot, you know, these will last as long as they last, and they're still only $200, but they made the fit even more narrow than some of the PNW boots. So I don't know who can stand that. And Thursday boots still does not offer any wide widths that Wolverine is supposedly going to introduce. So yeah, in the last few weeks, these, and these are the ones that I've been wearing. Like I said, I was going to mention what my 3 boots have been as those, just to kind of get them some use. And again, I have the lighter color of this that I was going to use for summer, and I never got them out of the cabinet. I just started wearing these again instead. And I have the Captains instead of the Presidents with that waxed flesh that I'm going to get out and start wearing instead of these, because these, the heel caps are really starting to show wear. So if I want to be able to use these again next spring, then I need to kind of put them away and save them, because I don't want to pay to get a resole done now or soon. But again, those are an easy resole because it's just the heel caps. Let's see. Funny anecdote, I hope, was in a leather supply store last week. 5'0" woman in her late 80s walks in asking for a piece of 45-ounce leather. So she's on a manhunt, I guess. Most of it, well, I don't live in Australia, so my skin isn't leathery enough for some that I've met. My old neighbor, she had sun damaged skin prematurely. That was the closest I really got to that. Don't want to make a pair of shoes out of her neck or anything. Don't get the wrong idea. So let's see. Nicks and Whites and all them offer models that come again more like a standard hiking heel. You don't have to get mega heel stacks on all the boots. But again, if you don't want the thicker leather and that and this and that, they can be pricey. But again, you're not getting, everybody say, well, you can get a couple pairs of $200 boots for the same thing. Yeah, but you're not getting the same thing. It just depends on how much that means to you. Like the farmer guy, again, if you're using them on the farm, then maybe not overspend, but again, they might have an option that works. Oh, I had to break that into 2 parts. Gotcha. Okay, so the second part is coming. I want more arch for some of my pairs more than others. Nicks does make the Delta arch now that you can install in a pair of these. Unlike a cobbler making it look like it, it actually will have actual arch support on the inside. How well they fit inside a standard boot, though, without cramping your foot, I don't know. How much they slide around if the boot is already loose, I don't know. How trimmable and customizable they are, like a typical insole, I don't know. You had said about Roseanneville, and I think Dale's Leather Works would be the one that came out with them first. Veg tan insoles. Veg tan insoles will be a single ply thing, though, and probably various degrees of thickness. So it's not going to be the same as like a 3-inch beefy thing that goes in a specific area. It's just going to be a standard insole that goes inside. But I imagine if you wanted to put that over a foam insert like these have and have it break to your foot, you could. Again, how well that will fit at first and how much it's going to bunch up in the vamp and all that, I don't know. Not as bad as, again, a Delta arch. So going back to the other point, you cannot return Nicks boots if you try to break them in first. That's why so many of these guys online or the other custom MTO things, because they jumped in and tried to wear them around first before making sure they had gotten their correct sizing. And a lot of them, again, got boots that are too narrow, which like these were a bit, but since the leather's so thin and pliable, it's not having the same blowout issue as the Whites lace to toes that I was talking about, which are also a thinner leather than their more premium smoke jumper ones, I assume. Let's see. Okay. No, still hasn't come yet. Okay. So, like I said, buying their in-stock models is a lot lower risk because you can just return them if they don't fit. But yeah, the lead times are way longer than they used to be now that these companies have gotten more popular with standard consumers rather than firemen and, that narrow industry. But of course, they're trying to do that. They're trying to expand at the same time as they probably can't hire enough competent workers. So the less competent workers are probably getting thrown onto these lower value line, production tables or whatever. Just cut this. And so you're going to see anomalies and seconds and things. So a lot of those boots will be the discounted ones. Somebody tried them on, didn't like them, returned them, and they, pointed out this flaw. So I got it for $100 off, that kind of thing. Like I said, the Fulton boots or the Perry boots are still on my bucket list, but I haven't pulled the trigger on that. And I also have not seen enough useful reviews yet of the Shrunken Bison stuff, which I have like 3 pairs of the Bison leather now from 3 different companies, and I haven't really worn them yet. But again, when I put these Thursday ones away, I do plan to pull out those Grant Stone ones and hopefully give you a wear review in the next month or 2. Whoever's still watching at 34 minutes. We're almost through this. So then I had mentioned that Frank's Patriot boots, similar to these, but with the higher heel stack or less quality version of these, however you want to square that. You can get them in black or walnut, which is walnut's a little bit darker than this brown. The all rough out look cool, but they only had like 1 size in stock, and I don't recommend that option so much unless you're just going to wear them with cargo shorts instead of pants. So you just want to look badass and show off your ruggedy boots. And those also might be a less beefy leather than this. I'm not positive because supposedly there's a big price difference between $400 and $700. So I hope some of that is the leather quality. But a lot of times with the black leathers, it's just the clicking because there'll be defects and stuff that they'll paint over. So it might be the same leather, just was too ugly to market otherwise. Don't know. But I've heard that. And of course, I haven't tried Frank's Patriot boots because they don't come in my size, and I don't know what other corners they cut for a basic model. I've watched videos about it and I forgot already because they don't come in my size. They claim their sizing is the same as Nick's, but one guy says they were not as consistent for him. And then yesterday, the other guy whose videos I watch, who never posts my comments, he always ignores me, even though I probably know just as much about boots as he does, maybe more. He's upset with the pair of Frank's boots that he got recently, but he insists they're still a great company and that's an anomaly and da-da-da. So the rabid PNW fans will scream and holler and rant and rave if I don't mention the Patriot boots that apparently I will never, ever own. And okay, here's the Kubra hats. We're going to save that. That was a long conversation. And I just did that video on Monday that hardly anybody's watched. So if you're really more interested in hats, last time I did Boot Talk, I also included hats and suspenders. This time I'm not going to do that. So I think that kind of wraps that part of it up because I don't know if there's anything else. I'm just scrolling, people. What was that? Oh, yeah. I just did a video earlier about movies. So if you're the one person who might care, yeah, I might have read this 2 weeks ago. I don't remember. The guy talking about his Red Wings challenge for the summer. Like I said, I had to return the blacksmith for a size issue, but now I see they look more like clown shoes than many service boots that I might likely prefer. So again, the Wolverine 1000 Mile having kind of that bump toe, and the new Nicks that I got in the Prospector. I found out the difference between the Prospector and the Palisades is the Palisades will have more of a logger heel stack. So again, something I would prefer to the Dogger heel stack that I got, just because it does this slanty thing. So I'm not hitting on my heel as much, but again, it's still a high heel boot. So by the time the Dogger heel wears out, I can put a logger heel on that one and it won't matter. So he had said they look less clown shoey than the Iron Rangers, and now he can't unsee it when he looks at his others. I don't have Iron Rangers. I have the Truman boots instead because I already have cap toes from them. And so, yeah, he had gotten confused as to the blacksmith being the same as the other. The blacksmith is a structured toe because it has the Celastic, just not the extra cap on the top of the leather there. Hence the bump and sprung look less refined. Some boots that without the structure look worse when they collapse still. That's kind of hit and miss. Certain mock toes look better with a structure, which is why they're in the other room. I sent back that Nicks. When I sent them back for the fit, I did have them add the Celastic for the extra structure because the stitching just wasn't giving it enough structure to hold it up, in my opinion. But I definitely did not get those in a steel toe or anything. So, yeah, like I said, I think I already read his comments last time, so that's a kind of a mediocre rereading of the main part. But so he's doing all Red Wings, but he keeps buying other boots in the meantime, and then he keeps complaining about the fit of the other boots or whatever, or the color of them, and selling them off. I'm not trying to do that. I've kind of got to the point where, I'm trying to use what I have. So next month, I don't know if I'm going to try and do a boot challenge. I think it's still going to be too warm of weather to really commit to anything like that. I'm still waiting for the second part of the anecdote. I don't know what's this thing. It tells me that the comments don't always appear in real time of when they post them. So maybe the people who posted comments in the previous video were mad because I didn't read them till the end, but I didn't get them till the end. So I'm almost at the end here already. It's 40 minutes. That's kind of a long video. So I don't know. I guess we'll have to wait for the comments to find out in the next exciting episode, or same bat time, same bat channel. Don't know. What is this doing? Oh. Okay, so as always, I have activated the feel free to buy me coffee feature for those of you who are feeling generous and want to subsidize my heel cap replacements or whatever. Again, this has this weird metal ring. I'm still waiting for that to become an issue. Hasn't yet. I guess I can show a little bit of the wear on the outsoles, which there's not that much on this particular shoe. And the other ones, I didn't show it for very long the Thursday, but my right one, the heel is wearing slower than the left one, but the forefront is wearing faster. So you can kind of see, but they're grinding down on the one side. This one more significantly than that one. So I don't want to get into this leather and ruin that, even though they're cheap boots. And like I said, I don't want to pay for a heel cap right now since I just bought these in May. But I wore them a lot. Yeah. Yep. No new comment about old women here yet. So anyway, as I said, boycott Tinder. I haven't done a boycott Tinder video in like 3 weeks now or something. I have some redundant stuff that I could go into and some new stuff, but not an emergency since hardly anybody watches those videos. But like I said in the last video this morning, if you are a guy with a lot of money and you're relying on dating apps to meet women, you're doing something wrong. You don't have to be hunky if you have dinero in many cases, but you're finding high quality gold diggers. It's kind of an oxymoron. So there's that. Okay. I'll probably do another video soon. I had a shirts thing. I wasn't sure if I should do plaid shirts separate than my shirt haul thing, but all the shirts haven't come in yet. So maybe I'll do a short plaid shirts video thing, but I don't know who'd watch it because it's not winter yet, so we're not doing flannel shirts yet. But I was trying to do some research on Wikipedia and turned up, I might as well write my own article. I think I know more about plaid shirts than whoever posts on Wikipedia about the subject. So we'll see if I do that on, Sunday or tomorrow or whatever. Maybe not.